Exactly. But then, like the sharpening part, you turn the knife around and the blade is facing down. And I mean, I can tilt the platen that way as well, but I don't like the jig for sharpening while doing that. I just can't see it, and I don't like not seeing it, which is why I'm trying to do it up there. But that only works on grinders like the OBM where this tilts. If that is straight, hold on. You put the mask on and put the fan this way to try and blow it out the door. Do you want a little history of my shop? Is that of interest? Tools that I started with? You guys have probably seen these by now. But it's an electric lighter. All right, let's come over here. This is going to give us stuff that I used to have shelf mostly. I need to move this whole shelf, but this is the first tool, power tool I ever bought was this Dremel. And then we've got our acids and chemicals up here along with zip ties. Dremel tools, carbide bits, more chemicals, my favorite calipers, but I don't use calipers. down here is everything I started with, basically. I need to fix it. So this is my second or third forge, which was an Atlas Knife Company forge. And I love it. If all I did was knives, I think that's all I would have. But it's too small for a lot of the things I want to make. So we had to get bigger. Oh, here, these are little sewing lamps that before they stopped working, I used at the welder and the grinder to like put light directly where I was trying to go. That's especially useful at the welder for me. Hey, Pop. But yeah, so that's my Atlas Knife Company forge. This is a Worksharp knife and tool sharpener. I heavily recommend this tool, actually. I'm a big fan of it. Is it perfect? Is it good? No. But if you want to do nothing, you don't want to learn about sharpening, you just want a sharp thing, that works. This is our second anvil, which I thought it was train rail, but I've seen train rail anvils, and this is far more dense. At the back there, I'm not going to get it, but that's the treadmill motor that I used for the grinder until it burned out. Oh, it's absolutely track, but I think it's crane rail for a overhead crane. And then our 1x30, which I used for a long time. This is the apron that Hnoss, H-N-O-S-S, of Trades made me during the first Maker's Swap. This is an enameling kiln that I picked up for doing heat treating. And you guys have seen the bandsaw and stuff at this point, so we don't need to do that. This is trash though, so we should pick that up since we're cleaning. Alright, and now we can't go left anymore, so we have to attack the big problem. Which is I built this massive bench with lots and lots of space on it. And because it is a large flat surface, it collects everything. Oh, there's a knife. Alright, first thing to put away is the crossbow. Yeah, this bench is 52.5 inches long, or wide, by 63 long. Yup. That's where, like, these aren't part of the bench, they're just there. Those are part of the bench. Alright, let's start cleaning it. This is the table salt I stole out of the kitchen without telling my wife. So, This is, in my opinion, the most underutilized tool, or one of, how do I put it? It's one of my favorite fucking things. I'll put it that way. Is I think about a thing in a complex shape, and then I draw it with wire. So as an example, if I want to make a fucking guy, I don't know. I want to make a box, right? How do I know how much steel I need to make the box? Is I'll take the wire, and we'll bend it, and we'll bend it, and we'll bend it, and now we have a box, right? And that's the amount of steel I need. So then you pull it straight, you measure that, you cut it, and that's how much steel you need to make that box. And it comes in this handy little spool, so you never actually cut the wire, you just wind it back up. I've been using this wire since I started blacksmithing, this same spool of wire. All right, drills, we're just gonna pile these and figure those out in a minute. Dykem layout fluid for laying out specific lines and stuff. This lock we're working on needed very specific lines and measurements, so that's what the Dykem is for. Oh, it's not fully drifted out yet, right? But you get the idea. Dykem is perfect for straight lines. I really like these paint markers. Whenever, in my opinion, whenever I'm trying to mark something, the lines never, ever, ever stay for any reason. And those paint markers work great. And they wipe right off. But they're those markers you use for, like they use on the whiteboards, blackboards at bistros. So they're not for fine lines, but for me to look at a piece of steel and say I need 6 inches burr, done. It depends on how thick, THICC, you put it on. So it's, and say I didn't like that line, I can get it off. But if I leave it there for, 30 seconds or so, it'll dry. Yeah, math for complex shapes like, here, I have one over here. Like this headset stand, right, is all one piece of 1/4 inch rod. So to figure out how much material I needed to make this headset stand, I made it in wire first, then straightened out the wire and made the stand. The box is a bad example because the box is relatively easy to figure out. And then you can always fudge any number because you're a blacksmith, so, make it slightly longer or slightly shorter. Wood scrap, So I don't have a jointer. I probably never will. So I joint almost everything. I mean, for better or for worse term, I joint everything with the table saw, which leaves me with a bunch of these little scraps. And I never throw them away because they're useful for everything. Shims, paint stirring, anything. And I have them every thickness from paper thin, wedges, keep them all. All right, for this next one, your mileage may vary. This is table saw specific. But for my table saw, I didn't want to buy a zero clearance insert because zero clearance inserts are more than I want to pay. So I use hardboard for it. It's nice and flat. It's flexible enough, but sturdy enough to sit in there. And for those of you that don't do woodwork often, what a zero clearance insert is for is if I'm making a very small cut, like an 1/8 inch off of something, and I don't have a zero clearance insert in, it's just going to lose this piece into the table saw. It's just going to drop in the cabinet and I'll never find it. So zero clearance is to have full support of the piece on the way through, and that way you don't lose the piece. So these are very handy. Lone is going to be intimately familiar with these, but these are little, I don't even know what they are, rubber, probably a rubber sticks for cleaning abrasives. You see them a lot with 2x72 grinders, but I actually use them on my orbital sander as well. If I feel like the paper is clogging up on me, I'll just run the orbital sander on top of this for a minute or two. And I feel like, in my opinion, it does a pretty good job. This is for my yard. I ran over one of those drain caps with my lawnmower and destroyed it, and I never put it back. And it's been over a year now. I did put a piece of cardboard over it, so we're probably fine. Tiny hook. Yeah, septic cap. Here, let's look at an old tool since we're walking this way. This is my great-grandfather's handsaw. It's a Diston number 8 that I mildly restored. It was in pretty bad shape. No, it's all the way back there, Jaladin. All right. Ah! It's a sewer thing. All right, wood, book, more wire. I have 2 spools of wire because I always lose one. junk. 6-inch. People have large combination squares. I really love this 6-inch combination squares. We haven't even gotten to the last part of it, Lo. So, Jaladin, this is for you specifically. I think I'm going to use Titebond 2 on your mug. Probably, I mean, it's up to you. So Titebond 2 is water resistant, which means you can wash it, you can put water on it, but it's not water, it's not Titebond 3. Titebond 3 is waterproof. I don't think they say waterproof in their marketing, but it's as close to waterproof as you can get with a glue. But I don't own Titebond 3. So I would have to buy Titebond 3, which we can do, or we can use Titebond 2, which is good against water. And in my opinion, it would depend on what your, I need to turn these into something, what you're planning to do for the internals of the tankard. If you're planning to leave them bare wood, then I would say Titebond 3. If you are planning to coat them with some sort of plastic, epoxy, marine sealant, anything like that, I think we might be okay with Titebond 2. Right. This is string. It's like wire, but more frustrating to use. If you need an explanation of string, you should probably not be here. You should seek help. I want to talk about why I built the bench this way real quick. So this is a split top bench. And it's so I can do this. And clamp things from the center to the outside. Yes, but not today, Swiss. Today we are cleaning. It's my birthday and I'll clean if I want to. Paint markers in here. This is a tiny hammer we made on the press. Probably going to be a necklace at some point if I don't lose it by then. I am pretty close to agreeing with you, Beige. I'm going to go put these with my chemicals. They're great for mixing. Thank you. Just to be clear, it's not actually my birthday. That's May 31. This is the original ratchet with my socket set, and I busted it. And I said, my ratchet is busted. And they said, here's 5 new ratchets. And I said, all right, Stanley, I will continue to support you. So FYI, I have broken 2 ratchets in that box. And they have sent me new ratchets both times. No questions, no hassle. They just did. What up, Acres? We're just walking through cleaning the shop and explaining everything I touch and why I have it. Here you go. So one of the things I sell to people is fire starting kits. Like little, in those Altoids tins, I sell fire starting kits. And I include a laminated instruction on how to make char cloth. Because then, when they run out of char cloth, they can do so. And what I use to make char cloth are these old wife beater shirts because they are 100% cotton. And also, it makes me, you know, when I give somebody some clothing that I've worn to the point that it's not clothing anymore, it makes me feel pretty like Amaranth because they just paid to smell me in fire form. This tube is where I throw all my drill bits that I don't have time to put away. Little block plane, even littler block plane. I got this from Harbor Freight. It's a piece of junk, but it does the job. But as an example of the kind of junk you can get from a Harbor Freight, it came 2 different lengths on its own. So, you know, that. But I paid like 35 cents for it, so. Or whatever you pay for things from Harbor Freight. I like to keep the planes in here because it kind of keeps the blades from impacting anything. I don't know. Hey, my pencil. No. No, come here, pencil. Oh no. Oh no, the center of my table is warped and the pencil is trying to escape through it. Quick, pile it up on the garbage so it can't get out. Oh, it's gone. Goodbye, pencil. What else is in here? Can we get some sad music in chat for the loss of our pencil? I need the Titanic flute played on melodica sound. Yeah, I know. Look, it's my stream. I'll do what I want. And what I want to do is look like a fucking bum. It's an intentional choice. Double-sided tape can go in the middle. I need this. That goes in there. I can put you away. This can go in the trash. Wood. All right. There you go. This is more history. This is the first ever instructional book I bought. I think I need to catch up. Thank you, Acres. Well, see, that's the key, Lone, is I'm not wearing underwear, so no one can call me out on that. Stop wearing underwear. Stay strong. Burn your underwear. More oak scraps I need to figure out what to do with. Hickory scraps. Garbage. Alright, we're going to blow this table clear and move to the actual table saw. No, it's not, Jaladin. I got the plans for the crossbow. If you want to message me, I'll find him. but it's a guy on the internet who I can't remember the name of right now. He's building a trebuchet in England. He does a whole lot of archery content. It's not Jorg from the Slingshot channel, it's somebody else. But I bought the plans from him, far more detailed and better. And then I edited them some, remade them for my purposes, and those are the ones I share. All right, let's put this over here, and we just call this the shelf that's going to be a big ass problem. Oh, here you go. So this is an example, yes, of the char cloth kits I sell. So it's char cloth, planer shavings, striker. There's a magnesium thing, flint in there, and then the tin that you can make the char cloth in. The Way Cool wood is still here. This is a big chunk of Tupelo. Yeah, it smells good too. Whenever I smell my own clothes burnt, it just gets me feeling some kind of way, you know what I mean? Table saw. So we built these little hooks on the side to hang our safety shit on. Just because I've been explaining everything, we'll explain this one. But quick run through of the table saw garbage. We have the gripper, which you see me using all the time. I have a hard time explaining this or saying this, and you guys know how I feel about safety, which is usually optional. Not at the fucking table saw. Safety is required. And this thing, I would not make half the cuts I make without it. If you own a table saw, I would recommend. Specifically, I really like this standoff. And the reason being, this is as an example for loan, when I'm cutting knife scales. Knife scales, you know, you buy Purple Heart, and it's expensive. So you want to cut them, you don't want to cut a ½ inch of Purple Heart off for your knife scale to sand away a half or a quarter of that and just waste your belt and your time and your money. So you cut it as thin as possible, which makes it fucking dangerous. But because of this, you can stand it off of the Purple Heart so you have a stable cut, and you cut it a ¼ inch or an 1/8 inch for your scale without having to worry about it. Whereas if you try to cut an 1/8 inch thick slice with your push stick, it's going to rock, it's going to rotate, it's not going to be fun. So, it's an expensive fucking tool, but it's, in my opinion, very worth it if you don't own some sort of super expensive table saw that keeps you safe. Hello, Alex. We are cleaning the shop and explaining every tool I run into. Thank you. So on this end, this is where I keep a large amount of my table saw jigs and stuff. So, super fast run through. This is my sacrificial fence I use for when I'm doing jointing at the saw. Spin, spin, spin. Because I don't own a jointer. So you can throw this here, run this up, run, you know, screws, clamps into this to hold it perfectly flat to the saw blade. I know it's backwards, but whatever. And then you can have your saw blade half exposed while being buried in this wood and run a perfectly flat piece through it because it's going to joint and then run flat on the saw blade. And then obviously I forged these because I wasn't paying $30 for Harbor Freight clamps. Oi, Crackle. We're cleaning the shop and explaining all the tools, Crackle. So this is a dado blade set. What these are for is cutting what are known as dados, which are slots in wood, usually used for joinery, sometimes used for decoration. As an example, that is a 1/4 inch dado. Hold on, let me turn the light on. How did the jewelry making go, Crackle? So that is a 1/4 inch dado we cut in the side of this hammer for inlaying this piece of bloodwood. So you can use it decoratively, and it makes perfectly flat bottoms, you can see. So you can inlay well, or you can use it functionally as a thingy. Hell yeah on the rings. Oh, no worries, Badger. Here, you want to see the jewelry related piece we're working on right now? It's not jewelry, but it's jewelry materials. This is a big sheet of copper that we're working on. And the boatman, it's my manly scream. The boatman is going to go in the water once it's ready. And I'm going to get close to try and get you color. We got, you can see some blues, some reds, oranges. The blue is a mixture of Miracle-Gro and water. So there are a couple different ways you can get a blue patina. This is just Miracle-Gro and water. Miracle-Gro and red wine vinegar will give you more greens. You can, for a deep, deep blue, so let me start over. A lot of patinas are not available for this piece because of the size of the piece. So for like a really deep blue, you would want to put some ammonia in a sealed container and lift the copper above the ammonia so that the fumes hit the copper, but it's not submerged. Obviously, this is a 12 by 12 sheet of copper, so I would need a pretty significant size container to do it. So, not an option. So that's why we went with Miracle-Gro, which is a little less blue. You could also do salt and white vinegar to do things like that. What's up, Goose? Let's come back over here. Quick run through. Is there anything else I want to show you for the table saw? This is a feather board. I don't know how to use them right, so deal with it. But that guy's got somewhere to be. Pretend this was over here. And this was to the left of the saw blade. So what the feather board is for is when you're feeding it in and you don't want to get close to the saw blade, you can put the feather board there and this will keep it straight but not kicking back as close to the saw as you can get. It sounded, you heard the wiener just going by. Anyways, by the way, Crackle viewers, this stream is not safe for work. and I refuse to change that. Table saw sled, pretty self-explanatory, but it's for making kind of like the zero clearance insert. You can make a very exact cut here. And you want to use either hardwood. Ideally, you'd probably want to use metal runners because wood warps over time. But if you're going to use wood, use a hardwood. All right, I think we have finished the table saw stuff mostly. Yeah, it's more like this, I know. That's why they need the big engine to get the vibration, you know? Yeah. Miter saw for doing angled and compound cuts. Obviously, that. There's not a lot to the miter saw. The biggest thing I'd say is nice is if someday I will put this on its own bench and you can accurately, with the use of a stop block, or in my case, it has these little built-in wings, and you can stop your cut at the same place every time. So if I need a cut that's this long, I can stop there every time, and they are all that size. We're not going to worry about all the dust back here because I don't clean back there and I don't want to reallocate that dust to the floor. Oh, one more table saw thing. Just because we made a big speech about safety, I don't ever take it off my table saw, so I don't even think about it not being a part of it. But this is a riving knife, and what it does is it keeps the wood. When you cut the wood, if it's got a lot of water or warp or twist in it, it can pinch. And if it pitches on the back of that blade, it's going to follow the blade up and it's going to come visit you. Don't let the wood come visit you. The riving knife keeps it from pinching on the back, and that way you don't get hurt. This is garbage. Let's throw away the garbage. This is my hardboard. And if at any point somebody has a question or just wants to talk, go for it. Oh, I guess I'll show you the rest of the shop. So, spin, spin, spin. So we started over here. We have cleaned that portion up to here. So now we've got to get through this. And honestly, this part, far less exciting. Is it the guy that is showing you kickback and he's far, far too close and it almost eats his finger? Is this the good one? This is a gear puller. Gear puller goes with car tools. This is a gear puller I broke and stripped all the threads off of. And I'm too cheap to throw it away. I paid $10 for that, gosh darn it. Ah, there's a nail in that one. This is a tool purchase that I regret. There is not an option, Alex. So when kickback starts coming, first of all, it's too fast for you to be aware of. And it's hard, it's fast enough and hard enough it'll punch through a drywall wall. It will seriously injure you. So the only way to avoid kickback, or to stop kickback, is to avoid it happening. Yeah, so I bought the Arbor Press for doing touch mark stuff, and I don't do that. It doesn't have enough power to push the touch mark in like I wanted. And it was one of those impulse buys. It's a nice tool. It's nice to have. For the things I do, I don't use it, because if I need a big press, I use the big hydraulic press. And if I need anything less than the big press, I use a hammer. So it is a good tool, but a poor purchase on my part. This is my original workbench, by the way. This is the first workbench I ever owned. It's kind of shit, and I'm okay with it. This is where I keep all my 1x30 belts. Oi, Burroughs. Doesn't have enough. Not well, in my opinion, Lone. Not well. I mean, if you're doing like leather, or if you're doing anything like that, but into hot steel, in my opinion, no. These are nails. I use them for everything but as nails. This is our big bucket of mystery. And we go, what are these screws? I don't know. What size are they? Doesn't matter. In the bucket. That way, when you can't find a screw, you stick your hands in the big bucket of mystery. And if it doesn't cut you, it will. It will immediately cut you every time. But if it doesn't, you'll find the screw you want. Oh, geez. And the big bucket of mystery is because I'm cheap, and I strip anything I take apart. I try to keep the screws, and I throw them in the big bucket of mystery, or nails. This is half of a scissor that we made a long time ago. And the scissor blade cracked. This scissor blade cracked, actually. So then we pivoted and turned it into a knife, which is why there's a hole in it. But like some of the things in the bucket of mystery, I don't know where they came from. Like when did I need a washer this big? Or like, where did I get 1,000 of these? You never know. Look, there's another baggie of them. I never purchased this. That's a long carriage bolt. Well, the bucket of mystery I got from my brother when he was moving. He was going to throw away the bucket of mystery, and I said, "Are you fucking kidding me? Give me that." You want to see the worst vise ever? This thing. This is the first vise I was given this, and somehow I still feel cheated. I was given this vise and I still feel like it wasted my money. And it's because it is a suction cup vise, which A, doesn't work on your MDF top. So I had to put the scrap metal on, and then I JB welded it on, and I could still just push it off. It could barely hold my balls. Anyways, this goes up here. This seems like a good place for these spade bits, but I would never look over here for spade bits. Spade bits don't go here. Alex, because you were talking about kickback, or we were talking about kickback, this is another piece that works to prevent kickback. So it goes on the back of the saw blade, and when you push wood through, it, those will push up. But because of their design, they won't let the wood come back to you. They are functional, however, I hate them. Because if you work in any kind of soft wood, they will immediately dig into the surface and make you have to sand the whole thing down 1/4 inch to fix it. All right, now we start on this. So this is where I keep all my acquired scrap wood, and we're going to sort it, I guess. So at this point, I'm not explaining wood to any of you. So any questions about just about anything? Take all the round pieces out first. Thank you for the follow, Charm. I haven't complained, have I? I probably have. Deal with it. Alright, sticks. There you go. So I was talking about how I save all those offcuts from when I'm jointing for use as shims or paint sticks or whatever. There's a big pile of them. This is oak. We'll set it to the side. So it may look like I'm just throwing stuff randomly, but I'm trying to stack things with defined sizes near things with defined sizes. Stop looking at my butt, Acres. I see you. Oi. That's me, 21. It's not my birthday. My birthday is 31. It's whatever day it is not now. Oh, thank you, Acres. Buying PCs from a yard sale. I would not play more than like $100 to $200. Because you're buying already used hardware. You don't know what's wrong with it. They could say it's functional, but it's probably not going to last you a long time. I wouldn't pay a ton. Thank you, everyone. Jesus. Acres, you're such a sweetie. Yeah, why would Gina sub? She's my wife. That's just giving money to Bezos. It says, Bezos, here's $250. So, we have the... Oh, this shouldn't be over here. This is a piece of gasket rubber. I like it for gasket rubber. You say, happy birthday, Bezos, here's $2. And he's like, what? What did I have to do for this? Nothing. Hell yeah. All right, so this is the bag of mystery where we throw our odd size scraps. Then if we need a weird sized piece of wood, we forget about the bag of mystery and we cut a new one. That way we have more wood for the bag of mystery. For it is ever consuming, but it never gives back. Come back, Sticks. All right, do you guys ready? Are you guys ready for the most tragic story of this whole shop? Because it's right here. Don't make Acres your mod, I'm cute. Thank you, Acres. I feel over 50. Yeah, this is the most tragic because for no particular reason that anyone can define, Gina won't let me put it in the house. So it has to live out here. And there is no reason for that. She just hates it for no reason at all. And everyone should believe me. And she might say, oh, it was filled with fire ants. Oh, the fire ants attack you. Don't trust her. This was an experiment when we were running the coal forge. We'll explain this whole situation. But first we're going to take it apart because that's good stuff. We got some good stuff there. come out of the chair, bite. Anyways, so this is a bathroom fan. I used it to run the coal forge at one point, and then we screwed it above the window over there to exhaust the coal out of the Sheboygan room. Exhaust the coal stuff out of the room, and it works pretty good, but not enough. And now we're going to talk a little bit about the particulars of coal forge blowers, which I am not experienced or knowledgeable enough to talk about, but I'm going to pretend I'm an expert and talk to you about them. There's nothing wrong with the chair. It's perfectly non-bitey, good stuff. But coal forge blowers, the problem is the large majority of things, air power related, are rated in CFM. And what you need for a coal forge, while CFM is important,